If you are the type of person that is always starting things and then maybe a couple of days or weeks later you stop showing up for whatever reason, this video is for you. Being consistent has always been one of my biggest struggles. I used to go to the gym for a couple of days, maybe even a couple of weeks, and then I would stop showing up. Or I would post for 30 days on social media and then completely go ghost. And what this does is it creates a pattern of inconsistency. And then you just end up losing trust in yourself to be consistent. And you end up repeating this pattern over and over again. And that's exactly what I did until I was finally able to break out of it. So in today's video, I'm going to share with you how I broke out of that cycle and how I started showing up a lot more consistently so that you can as well. And if you like these kinds of videos, definitely make sure to hit the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and without further ado, let's get into it. Being consistent is so much deeper than you think, and that's because the more that you continue to fall off, the more that you go against the things that you say you're going to do, the more you lose trust in yourself. And if you don't trust your own word, who else is going to? I think that keeping promises to yourself, keeping your own word is the most important thing that you can do, especially if you want to build confidence in yourself. I think that is the number one marker of confidence, is somebody who does what they say they're going to do. If your actions align with your words, you're going to feel confident. You're going to feel proud of yourself. So imagine that you had a friend in your life that you decided, we're going to meet for coffee every Saturday at 10 a.m. And the first week you guys show up on time and it's great. Then the second week, your friend says that they can't show up, like they cancel on you. And then the third week, they don't even bother returning your message. You will probably lose trust in this friend because they went against their word, right? But how often are we doing that with ourselves? We tell ourselves, I'm going to show up. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do it. Week 1, you're all in. You're going hard. Week 2, you're like, okay, like this is actually getting a little hard. Like, maybe I don't need to try like so hard. Maybe I don't need to go anymore. And then week 3, you don't even bother showing up. What that does is that erodes your self-trust. Every time you skip the thing that you say you're going to do, you are sending the message to yourself, I can't trust myself. And when you don't trust yourself, it is 10 times harder to follow through in the future. And also, when you don't trust yourself with the small things, it's really challenging to trust yourself with the big things as well. So if you are struggling to be consistent, make it your goal. Really commit to yourself to be in integrity with your word. Every time you show up, you are voting for the person that you wish to become. That is one of my favorite quotes from Atomic Habits because it really places an emphasis on how important it is for you to show up, because you are casting a vote for the version of you that you want to become. And by not showing up, by not doing the thing, you are basically casting a vote for the version of you that you no longer want to be. And when you realize how important those small moments of self-trust are in shaping your identity, it really motivates you to be more consistent. Because again, the more you go back on your word, the more that you are losing trust in yourself. And if that's where you are, that is okay. You could always rebuild that trust. I think a really great way to start rebuilding that trust within yourself is to start with small things. Start with baby steps. Slowly commit to things over a period of time. Something very small. I think it's really helpful to kind of go in phases. So this is what I did a couple of months ago when I really wanted to get back into my healthy habits after like a month of just not being on top of them, is I took myself through phases. So like phase 1, I committed to like 5 healthy habits and I tracked them every day to make sure that I was showing up. And then after doing that for 2 weeks consistently, I was like, I feel great. I trust myself. I can add more. And the next month I added more. The next month I added more. And now I'm like slowly improving and like adding more and more to my plate and like bigger things as well. Because the more you show up, the more you're increasing your capacity to hold more things as well. Like when I started, I feel like I talked about this in my video all about habits. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you can watch that video up here. But my main intention with like slowly easing myself into my healthy habits was to eventually get to the point where I'm like posting consistently on social media. And now it's been 3 months of building that momentum within myself with all the other healthy habits that now I'm actually in a place where I'm showing up consistently on social media again. I have built that trust within myself over the last couple of months that now I'm able to handle something as big as showing up consistently on social media, posting daily on TikTok, posting twice weekly to YouTube, like actually sticking to these big promises that I made to myself. And it came from slowly rebuilding that trust within myself. And now it's like, I know I'm going to do it. Like, I know I'm going to show up. I know that I'm going to commit myself to the things that I set promises for. I think the biggest mindset shift that I made around consistency is that being consistent does not mean 100% of the time. Consistency does not mean showing up every single day, giving it your all, like putting 100% effort every single day, no matter what. It's all about what you are doing most of the time. And most does not equal all the time, does not mean 100% of the time. Expecting yourself to show up 100% is such an impossible standard to meet. And if you try to meet that standard, you're just going to set yourself up for disappointment, and you're going to feel disappointed in yourself. You're going to feel ashamed and feel like a failure and all of these things. But what if you just reframed what being consistent means? To instead of it being 100%, it's just what you do most of the time. So if you can look back on the last 30 days on how often you showed up, what did you do most of the time? What did you do at least like 70 to 90%? I think that's a great range to hit when you're wanting to be consistent with something, is anywhere from 70 to 90%. I think it also depends on the season of life you're in. If you are like really, really locking in and focusing, like hit that 90% consistency, like aim for that 90%. But if you're like, okay, like I am focused on this, like this is a priority in my life, but like I also have other priorities, like maybe I'll focus on 70% instead. And that's 70 to 90%. If you look at that over the last 30 days, that's like 21 to 27 days of showing up. And that is enough to create real results. You do not need to show up 100% of the time to create actual results. You could see a lot of results in whatever area it is that you're focusing on, whether it's your fitness, whether it's your finances, your career, whatever it is that you're focusing on. You can see a lot of results with just 70 to 90% consistency. Also, redefine what it means to show up. If you only count giving it a 10 out of 10 effort as showing up, you will not be consistent. Sometimes all you have to give is a 5 out of 10 effort, and that is okay. That is still you showing up, and that is still being consistent. You are not always going to be at this high energy level to be able to give it your all, and that should not mean that you don't show up at all. I think a huge part of being consistent is ditching that all or nothing mindset and reminding yourself that something is always better than nothing. Even if I can't give 100%, I'm going to give 10%. Even if I can't give 10%, I'm going to give 5%. Something is always better than nothing. You don't have to constantly live in those extremes of, if I can't go all in, if I can't hit 100%, then I'm just not going to at all. It's like, no, you will be so surprised. Honestly, I think what really, really changed my mindset about this was when I actually started tracking my habits, and I noticed that, okay, over the last 30 days, like I did not show up 100% of the time. And I remember in those moments when I didn't show up, or when I like wasn't able to fully give my all, I did kind of feel bad about myself. I was like, oh, like it sucks that I'm not able to show up at the best that I can. But like when I look over the past 30 days, like I was still able to hit my goal. I was still able to achieve the things that I wanted, even though I didn't show up 100%. And I think when you see that, when you see that you're still able to hit and accomplish the things that you want, even if you're not 100% consistent, that is what then shows you like, okay, like I don't need to show up 100% of the time and be perfect and give it 10 out of 10 effort to actually see results. And there's so much power in that, because then also you're able to sustain it a lot more. It is impossible. It is not sustainable to expect yourself to give it your all every single day for the rest of your life. Like it's not going to happen. There's going to be things that come up. There's going to be different seasons of life where you're not able to show up in the same intensity as you were in other seasons of your life. And that doesn't mean that you don't still see results. I think another reason that we can struggle with being consistent is that we like to live in extremes. I know that I do. Like if I want something, I want it as quick as possible. Like it's like our societal need for instant gratification. But I have really been trying my hardest over the last couple of years to train myself out of that mindset and instead focus more on delayed gratification, focusing more on honing in on my skills and like controlling what I can in this moment and not being so focused on the end result, not being so focused on the outcome. So achieving something as quick as possible usually means that you had to sacrifice a lot to get there or do something that you're not going to be able to sustain for a long period of time. For example, for the last year, I have lost over 25 pounds, and I very well could have lost 25 pounds in a couple of months instead, but I chose not to go down that route. I chose not to think about getting to my end result as quick as possible because I wanted to focus on sustainability. I wanted to focus on intentionality, on actually changing my life and like little by little changing who I was, changing my identity rather than just achieving the result. Because if you just focus on the outcome, you're going to do some crazy things. You're going to want to do crazy things to get there. That's kind of like, you know, people who want to grow on social media as quick as possible. So they're like, I'm going to post 10 to 15 times a day on TikTok. And it's like, more power to you if you're able to do that. But like, that is a quick recipe to burn out. Trust me, I've tried it. The most I actually tried was posting 3 times a day. And I think I did it for like 30 days. And yes, I did see a lot of results very quickly. But guess what? After those 30 days, I went ghost for months. I completely abandoned the community that I built because I didn't have energy to post anymore. And also I created this relationship with social media that felt like so exhausting. And like when it feels so exhausting and it takes so much of your energy, you're not going to be consistent with it. You're not going to show up for it. I think there's definitely a line with that. Like you can definitely push yourself. You can definitely overcome like mental resistance and mental blocks and do hard things, but also know when it's okay to just show up and just do the bare minimum. You know, like right now I am posting every single day on TikTok because I decided to commit myself to that. Like I decided to try something hard and like actually overcome any mental blocks that come with it because I know that that could actually really help me see results quicker than if I were to just post 3 times a week. But like that is not so extreme in the sense that like I'm posting 10 times a day that I'm going to exhaust myself. Like it's still a push, but it's not like such a push that like I'm gonna burn myself out. I just saw a post recently where she said that if you can't train for 4 days a week, train for 3. If you can't train for 3, train for 2. Do what you can with what you have. And again, it's really all gonna depend on the season of life that you're in. When I first moved back to my parents' house, I was in a season of my life where I had a lot of time. I had a lot of energy. I was able to focus on certain things. I was able to go to the gym. I was able to post on YouTube and really pour my energy into the things that I wanted to. Whereas now I work a full-time job. Like I'm not able to commit myself to so much like I was, 8 months ago. Or if I do want to commit myself to things, I have to be very intentional about it. I have to lean on support. Recently I hired a YouTube editor. I also have a VA that helps me with publishing my videos too. So it's like, if I want to show up in the same intensity that I did in a previous season of my life, I'm just going to need support. I'm going to need to outsource. I'm going to need to get help. That's what's going to allow me to be consistent. I also feel like another reason that we struggle to be consistent is because we don't see results quick enough, which kind of goes back to the whole conversation on the instant gratification. But you go to the gym for 2 weeks and you see nothing. You see no results. Those abs aren't coming out yet. You haven't lost the weight yet. Or you post for 30 days on social media and you're still in 200 view jail. But like I said before, you need to train yourself out of that desire for instant gratification. I think one of the best skills that you can learn in life is being able to show up and be consistent with something without seeing the results. Every single successful person started with nothing. They put in a lot of work behind the scenes without seeing any results for a long period of time before they saw anything. Mr. Beast has said in multiple interviews that he made videos for years before anything ever took off. He uploaded around 100 videos before he even saw 1,000 views. And in order to actually see viral success, it took him over 5 years of posting. And at that point, he had posted over 400 videos before he even hit 100,000 views. Like, isn't that so crazy? Like, that takes a lot of dedication and a lot of consistency to be showing up in that way without seeing any results. And even like my YouTube journey was very similar. Like I posted, well, not to that extent with like Mr. Beast, but I mean, like, I posted one of my first videos back in 2020. I wasn't actually like fully committed and super consistent until 2022. And even then, it wasn't until October of 2024 that I actually started to see a lot of growth in my channel. So that's 2 years of hardly any growth, of me posting and maybe getting a couple hundred views on my YouTube videos. And I honestly think that is like the best time to really focus on your skills, because you're essentially working behind the scenes when there's not that many people watching you. So you can really focus on your skills. So if that's something you want to do, for example, like growing on social media, I really recommend like committing to like 90 days of posting intentionally and not focusing on the results, instead focusing on your skills, focusing on improving your editing, focusing on improving your talking skills, on improving on your value, focusing on the things that you can control rather than focusing on the things you can't control, which are the views and the results that you're going to get. Same with going to the gym too. Committing yourself to like a 6-week program and not focusing on the result that you're going to get at the end of the 6 weeks, but instead focusing on lifting more, being able to withstand more workouts without taking a break, walking a little bit more, increasing your endurance and your strength. And if you want to learn more specifically about being consistent with your fitness, I definitely recommend watching this video next, where I talk all about how I finally made fitness a habit after years of being inconsistent. But that's going to be it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.